Okay, I'm calling the meeting to order as soon as we go live. That sounds about right.
We're live.
Call this meeting to order with a roll call vote.
House,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes.
Berglund,
Yes.
Crow.
Yes.
Matt. Yes.
Reading of the district mission vision statement by Director Bergman. Our mission, to challenge all students to achieve their full potential through engaging, responsive educational experiences that inspire innovation, critical thinking, and collaboration. Our vision, to develop learners who are competent, compassionate problem solvers. Our operating principles, information for one is information for all, no surprises, verify facts, think ahead, disagree, explain your thinking, and then ahead. Thank you. Approval of the agenda. I think there's been an addition to the agenda.
Yeah, one addition, the Booster Club has selected Michelle Sweet for the concession stand manager position at $25 an hour to be paid for under the Booster account. So pending this approval, they have like her succession.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I'll make a motion.
Second,
I would like to pull one thing from the consent agenda. I'd like to pull the position of Austin record the strength and conditioning physical education teacher.
Would you like that? That's 13.5 or something.
Correct. That sounds good.
okay, 13.5. All right,
What are you calling?
That final position, the strength and conditioning physical education teacher.
So means we'll vote on it separately.
yeah, it's going to be added as 13.5.
Correct.
Okay,
And I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
second,
A second.
been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as amended. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, say no. Agenda's approved as amended. Approval of minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
So, with that,
Or a second.
I'll second. I motion to.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. It's been moved and seconded to approve the board minutes as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Here Are there any visitors here for public comment tonight? Seeing none, we'll move on to committee reports. The only committee that met since the last meeting was policy. And we went over the policies that are on the agenda tonight for the first reading. And they're pretty much standard. Josh, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I mean, I guess one thing we did talk about is just making sure that when we do public bidding and we're asking district resources to be spent on a project, that we're following the state guidelines, as well as making sure that we have any challenges during the project with the awardee, that we can get those remedies and on the school board's favor.
And what was that called? I can't remember. What's
Performance bond. So
yeah, performance bond.
They require a performance bond for, and you said $197,000 and greater, or $195,000.
196,000.
Okay, right in the middle there. We talked about, we have a project, and that would be a great example of, we're gonna do some roofs, and each of those are their own separate project for $60,000 or $100,000 a piece. And one company gets all three, technically they'd be over the threshold, but with each of them as an individual project they wouldn't. So if that company, for some reason, stops working, has an issue, or whatever, we would be out any money that been paid on the performance bond. We would be guaranteed somebody to complete the work. Basically for insurance, so we try to make sure that we do that in the future. No.
Superintendent report.
Thank you. High school student Liz Olson signed a letter of intent to wrestle for Grandview University, where she plans to major in kinesiology. It was my good fortune to attend the spring concert recently, and as always, our talented students and staff did not disappoint. The performance with over 90 vocalists was amazing. The senior recognition night provided an opportunity to honor a number of soon-to-be graduates for their accomplishments, and I had the honor of serving as the opening speaker for the event. I was able to attend the National Honor Society induction ceremony as well, where 10 new members were received. Congratulations to Josette Benning, Margaret Voss, Anton Dittmer, Alexander House, Madison House, Hayden Heyer, Lily Luft, Jillian Much, Taylor Quaid, and Mackenzie Zweibaumer. CCHS sophomore Carson Gallup advanced to district after scoring 77 at the boys golf sectionals. High school junior Josiah Cunnings placed first in the long jump at the track and field state competition, while junior Keely Collins is now a 3-time state qualifier. Xander Grayson has earned the distinction of being a state qualifier in 3 different sports: track and field, bowling, and cross country. Lauren Stout qualified for the 400-meter hurdles, Leah Stewart for the shot put, and Mikayla Tomey in the high jump. The high school drama students will be recognized on June 1st at the Iowa High School Musical Theater Awards in Des Moines. As one of 94 schools recognized for their performance in You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, the performance was named Outstanding Ensemble and Outstanding Overall Production. Individual Outstanding Performance awards will be presented to Anders Hagelin, Tegan Prigge, Sophia Jensen, and Katie Hecker. Special recognition awards will be given to Harper McEnoy, Jacob Gears, Blake Hafe, and Hannah DeVore. I was able to visit the open house, The Untold Stories of the Riverside Cemetery on May 15th. And as you may know, the 8th grade students have received quite a bit of positive press lately, including a detailed feature in the press, interviews on KCHA, and coverage on KAAL TV in Rochester. It was a bittersweet afternoon for me when I attended the retirement reception for 10 of our teachers. Congratulations to Sheila Devereaux, Julie Petters, Janet DeLapp, Eric Hofer, Brenda Markey, Kent Fisher, Steve Stallsmith, Rusty Rogotsky, Wendy Labarge, and Jim Lundberg. 3 students in the CC CAPS program, Alex Wohlers, Claire Gherkin, and Josette Benning, finished the semester strong, as evidenced in their recent open house, where they were able to highlight their learning with various community partners. And this was hosted with our business partner, Zoetis. It was a pleasure to be there. At the Class 3A Girls Golf Regional Competition, Claire Gherkin qualified for the state golf tournament. And finally, probably the highlight of my spring is the pleasure to be part of the graduation ceremonies yesterday, in which 93 students were presented diplomas.
Any questions or comments? Number 8, 5 through 10 English language arts curriculum work.
The 5 through 10 ELA work is just one of the curriculum review pieces we've been going through this year. And as a team, talking with building administrators, we have a lot of good things in place, a lot of different resources in place. So we were wanting to bring in a consultant to help do some vertical alignment, 5-10 for sure, possibly 5-12. So we know the progression of our literacy and reading standards are being played out accurately, but then also from there, taking the units and the kind of the essential pieces, the essential concepts that we need to teach in literacy are covered at each grade level. And then building on what we have from there. So the proposal you see is for a consultant to come in and work with our teachers on over a year, where they would be either revising, reviewing, or creating their own units aligned to the Iowa Common Core ELA standards. Okay. She would be doing some vertical alignment work with all the ELA teachers at the secondary level, and then that would be the bulk of the work in the June dates that we would start with. And then as we move forward from there, she would help review the curriculum that's being implemented, as well as the instructional approaches, assignments, making sure they're grade level. And also like how to differentiate instruction for our ELL students and our special education students.
Any questions for Dr. Schilling?
Yeah, so, just making sure I understand. So she's not creating curriculum, the consultant, and they're just reviewing what we've already done and what we're. currently doing?
It could be reviewing, revising, or but when I say creating, some teachers could, just depends on where they're at in there with the resources that they're using.
How long do you anticipate this will take?
This is a year's proposal. Okay, so like this summer, we're hoping to meet June 5th and 6th to do that vertical alignment piece. Just saying, okay, here are the important standards. What are we doing in 5th grade? What are we doing in 6th grade? So we're not overlapping and teaching this maybe the same concept 3 times or building on that. And then we would get into creating and revising and modifying units for first quarter. So we're ready to go in August. And then from there, we continue to work in August dates. For the second quarter, should come back in November, the third quarter, and then in the end of January. I can't remember all the dates off the top of my head, but for the fourth quarter. So she has worked with several different schools throughout the country, in larger schools, smaller rural schools, to help develop the curriculum. She does a really nice job of finding free resources. And then building a bank of resources for instruction and also like the intervention piece.
She reached out to us, or how did we find her?
Actually, Melanie Bensel, and one of the 8th grade ELA teacher, had shared with me some work she had done in Fargo. And then I dug into a couple of schools she's worked with in Georgia and California, and seeing some of the progress they've made in academic achievement in those areas. So, and there is more research coming out about the teacher ownership, especially at the secondary level of kind of teacher created, again, is kind of a broad word, curriculum, and addressing the rigor of the assignments, making sure they're grade level to the standard that's driving to be met. It also, I think the best part of this is the teacher collaboration, the conversations that are had between teachers as they create and modify what tools and resources are being used. It helps them be more reflective and take more ownership of the resources they're using.
Are the teachers all on board with this?
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't have asked for this if I didn't talk to the teachers first.
And are they going to be involved in these meetings throughout the year, or how's that going to work?
Oh, yeah. They will be, like I said, I think there's 4 2-day dates throughout the next year that she'll be in district. But then there's ongoing virtual meetings throughout the year. Like she'll meet with, I think it depends on schedules a little bit, but she'll meet with like individual teachers virtually to review their materials. And then I'm also asking her to meet with like 5th and 6th grade teams at a certain time, the 9th and 10th grade teachers at a certain time.
So some of them prior to school starting next year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, July, there will be some virtual meetings.
Will teachers be compensated for that? Or?
Yes, in June and July they will. Other times it should be in contract. And that would be through teacher quality.
So the June 5th and 6th, if people are unable to kickoff meeting, then they make them up.
Yes, I already have one teacher that's going to be out of the country.
I didn't know, just because it's so short, like, I don't know, people are like, school's done, I got a vacation planned, I'm out of here, kind of thing.
No, and we've talked to the teachers. This conversation's probably been a month ongoing, but we do have one teacher that has already had, overseas, and we were gonna record as many of the sessions as we could with Dr. Perry, and then find time to get her on board the process. So
And so then, understanding the process, you know, obviously she's a consultant, so what she's gonna do is look at things that we're doing and then make recommendations, and then the responsibility to change. Do the work is gonna be on the teachers, right? And then she's gonna come back and assess if they did anything. How do we make sure that that money that we're spending, teachers are gonna take that action, and do something? Now, obviously, all recommendations aren't maybe possible to change, but I'm sure that she'll have some great ideas that come out of these. How do we make sure that those get done?
Well, I think that would be part of any curriculum adoption process. I mean, it's going to be bringing that work back into like the PLC works that like middle schools doing, or the department. It's going to be that ongoing, making teachers accountable for that throughout the school year and how they play out those things. So there'll be review processes that I'm going to support without Dr. Perry being there and it's saying, okay, this is what we did. What are we seeing our students? Are they meeting the benchmark in these areas with this lesson or with this unit? So that piece will be ongoing throughout the school year as well.
What I'm hearing you say is you're the checks and balances.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Our in-house check and balancer.
That's fine. I just want to make sure someone's, you know, making sure the consultant is giving us good advice, and then we're taking that advice and doing something.
That's me. Sorry. If I didn't, I just assumed.
Yeah, well, I just want to make sure that I understand, right? Thank you.
Dr. Schilling, I see that amount was 38,000 for the year. Do you know what, or, I mean, you might be able to answer that. Where does that come out of?
It's a little bit, so we have learning loss through COVID still left over, so that is one option, and building budgets could also be a little bit too.
It's English language arts programs, especially like at the high school level, you can't just go out and pick up your packet and bring them home, right?
Especially at the secondary level, we find oftentimes we can, and I think we've all probably been in a situation, we buy a curriculum and then it sits on the shelf with certain teachers or certain grade levels and those types of things, especially more at the secondary. Teachers are supplementing more to meet the needs of the students, where this is a process that builds that in right away. So
Or integrated.
Make a motion to approve Dr. Schilling to contract with Dr. Angela Fury Consulting as.
Been moved and seconded to approve Dr. Schilling to contract with Dr. Angela Perry Consulting as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion passes 5-0. Math curriculum.
this is the next step in the K-5 math curriculum adoption process that I've shared a couple of times. The teachers piloted 2 different curriculums, Bridges and also illustrative mathematics. The teachers by far were more receptive, and the students seem more receptive of Bridges curriculum. So we have decided to purchase that. Also within that purchase, that price there's professional learning provided by the company that published the materials. That's included in that price. And that will include some ongoing professional learning from the publisher throughout the year. And as well as in that price is included some intervention materials, which are probably some of the best math intervention materials for elementaries out there. That can be used either with title, I shouldn't say title, we don't have title math, just but SPED kids and tier 2 small group types of work in the core classroom.
No, with this one, you guys have done quite a bit of research and back and forth and discussions.
And again, this would be, I mean, this is just one step in that curriculum review and adoption process. It's like the implementation part is going to be the key. We'll bring it back to during our professional learning days next year. We'll spend part of those times focused on math instruction, what we need to work on, the fidelity of using the like teacher questioning will be part of that professional learning opportunity. So going through and doing fidelity checks next year again will be my and their instructional coach's responsibility to check that. Are we using the curriculum the way we should be using it? And if not, then what changes do we need to make?
Any other questions? I'll make a motion to approve Dr. Schilling to purchase the K-5 math curriculum as presented. Been moved and seconded to approve Dr. Schilling to purchase the K-5 math curriculum as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
And you got one more?
Yeah, one more, Jen. Not
Nice
so
try.
bad. Got the maps one.
You got a map renewal contract.
Man,
Good all at once.
I should probably spread this out a little bit.
Okay, this is a continuation of the MAPS program that we have done, and I cannot tell you off the top of my head what MAPS stands for, but
Measures of academic progress.
okay, thank you. Is there any discussion on this?
This is just a yearly thing that we renew.
Yeah, it's a screener that we give students in grades, currently in grades 3-11. Yeah, 3-11, and then I know we've talked about including second grade in there, but that would be no additional cost to this. Because we're required to screen our students at least 2 times a year, if not 3, so it's just a continuation of the contract.
I make a motion to approve Dr. Schilling to renew the MAPS testing program as presented.
Second. Been moved and seconded to approve Dr. Schilling to renew the MAPS testing program as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Passes 5-0.
We gave you lots
Good.
to stay busy with.
Thank you, Jen. Next item, number 11, is the superintendent contract, because it was left out of the administrative contract. So the item is to approve the superintendent contract for the 2023-24 school year.
So I guess, are we approving an extension, 1 year, 3 years? Are we just sending the exact same language?
We can talk about that
Oh,
right
okay,
now.
because there's no attachment, that's why. I want to
I'll make a motion that we approve the contract for the 0% salary increase for the 23-24 school year.
Is there a second? We want to talk.
What are we approving? That's my question. I don't know.
The fact that we're going to hire and for the next year.
We're extending it. Additional, that's it.
It's the exact same contract that I always have. I just personally requested a 0% increase. I know that we're facing some budget struggles. I don't take, nor do I want family insurance or an annuity or gas allowances. I don't need a cell phone. I don't need a tablet. All I need is just the base salary that we negotiated when I started. And the same 20 days vacation that all the other administrators get. So,
That's in the current contract, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
and I would request that I not have more than 1 year contract at a time. I don't need multiple year contracts. I understand some superintendents like those because they provide them with a little bit of leverage. As a community member, whether I'm your superintendent or not, I'll work as long as you feel like I'm getting the job done and you're pleased with my work. And I've said it since day one, the minute you're not pleased, or the minute you want to send me back to retirement, I'll be happy to go. But I think we've made a lot of really important, difficult decisions, but important decisions, and a lot of progress on a number of different levels in the district in the last year. And I think I feel privileged that I get a chance to continue.
There you have it. So David's made a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the superintendent contract for a 0% salary increase for the 2023-2024 school year. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion passes 5-0. Policy updates, first reading. Okay, it says here that Dr. Lindquist and Director of Finance will update the board on the policy changes. I'm happy to put in the minute.
This is a fantastic job with the meetings you did. Mr. Revere, does have any questions?
For most of them, we didn't really have, had a few things that we added. Evan had the ones that you see are what the old one was crossed off for what the new policy says, so that it's more understandable what it was and what it's becoming.
All of the red line are suggested by the Iowa Association of School Boards, and most often they're a result of a change in legislation. These come out quarterly, and I believe this is the third quarter of last year that we're finishing up. So we're, ready to do our one more parcel before we get started with the new ones and the legislation that just changed.
Right, and actually, if you looked at your email today, there was a thing from IASB that there's a webinar on, I believe it's June 22nd at noon, and you can register. It's free. And if you register, you'll be able to watch it later if you can't watch it right then. And it's the lawyer for Siobhan Schneider, I believe her name is going to be giving an update on the legislative session and all of the impact on the policies for school boards. And so it's free, I registered for it. You can register for it, it's in here. And I just think it would be beneficial for all of us, because then we get the legal behind why they recommend the policies that they do, so that will be in the fourth quarter. Though they think it will be kind of small, that one, I think, so anyway. Recommendations or questions?
I'll make a recommendation to approve the first reading policy that we're there.
I'll second. Been moved and seconded to approve the first reading of policies as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. Next one is substitute work days. It was brought to my attention in the last few days that I think all of our attention actually, that substitutes were working half days and in some instances and receiving full-time pay. And I think at the time that COVID was really at its height, that got started, and I just think we need to talk about that. I think we have near some hard time getting subs as I've had to before.
I couldn't find a formal resolution from when that decision was made. I don't believe one exists. I think it was just an agreed upon practice that we might have adopted, the district might have adopted, the current administration at the time, I should say, might have adopted in response to this shortage for substitutes. What I think is being asked here is that our current practice be such that if they work a half day, they're paid for a half day. If they're assigned to substitute for a full day, then we would pay them for a full day.
Does this then, if passed, go into a handbook somewhere?
I was going to the reporting handbook.
Mhm.
It'll be a resolution-ish. It'll be more, it will be formal.
So the idea of this would be somehow formalized in language and put in the
Handbook.
And right now, we don't have anything.
So right now in the handbook, it just says teacher will be paid $120.75 for substituting, which is for a full day. We don't have a half day pay language in there right now. So put in a half day language of 28.75 divided by 2.
Mhm.
So it'll make it very clear in there.
I make a motion that we revise the current practice for substitute pay for reflect time worked as reimbursement.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to revise current practice for substitute pay to reflect time worked as reimbursement. Any further discussion?
Just want to make a note, this would be for paraeducators and teachers.
Yes, Paris and
This
teachers.
is for both groups.
Is there any discussion on keeping or eliminating the the bonus that they got for working 30 days?
So that was an ESSER, retention bonus of $500, so with the ESSER money running out, we could discuss that further, but at this time, we were not planning financially bring that resolution back to the board. We approved that as a 1 year.
That's when that was approved, it was for a limited time. Right?
It was on an annual basis when you review it, and at this time, my current recommendation would be not to bring that back, we can discuss that.
So can we put that resolution on the next board meeting?
Right now,
Just so we can discuss it at the next board meeting. Okay, would that be good?
Sounds good.
What, David, what do you want to do?
we got a motion on it.
I know we do.
Okay.
Okay. Um,
Current one. We've got to.
we've been moved and seconded. This was discussion. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Yes, it's 5-0. Okay, financial reports.
We're at 13.5, the strength and conditioning position.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that's right.
So I just wanted to pull that one, because earlier in the year, when we were looking at staffing, we were under. If I remember correctly, we were not meeting the state requirements for physical education teachers. Does this put us at requirement now?
It will allow us to be, we have for, from what I can tell, 4, possibly 5 years, been understaffed by 1 FTE and PE and have provided requests to the State Department that we not be required to be held to the minimum standard for PE, particularly in grades 9-12. I do also think there's some implications for 7th and 8th graders. So I've not been able to locate the language that was submitted by the district in years past to the State Department. I just know that we're out of compliance. We did have a legislative change made in Chapter 12 that under some circumstances, students involved in organized activities that are equivalent to at least the minimum requirements for PE can request that waiver. Even with that, and it did pass as part of the large, they call the Chapter 12 legislation. Chapter 12 being that Iowa code that oversees all the structural nuances of a comprehensive school program to be accredited. We still have a serious deficit with 3 teachers for 1,500 students. That's 500 students per teacher, and that doesn't allow them to provide for physical education. Education being the key word with obesity in youth, even in adults, health, nutrition, and all aspects are really critical, important. And there are standards for physical education, and we're not meeting those. It's not because our teachers aren't able, but because we're not giving our teachers the time and the student enrollment numbers that would allow them to do that well. So after the dust settled and we had 1 more resignation from the business department, we were able then to make a suggestion to you, and thank you for pulling that off, because it gives the public and those joining us via live stream and those here in the room with us a chance to understand what an opportunity this is. Because if we can focus on the strength and conditioning of our athletes, we'll be able to not only prepare them more appropriately for their competitions, but it will also allow them to avoid injury. Some people might ask, we have a contract with Synergy to provide our athletic trainer supports. This person is not an athletic trainer. They're actually a physical education teacher. And like all physical education teachers, they will have courses in how to wrap ankles and so on. But if we have someone, tear an ACL or blow out a knee kind of thing, we would want our individual that we contract with from Synergy to be on the job. And that person is at every single home game. So it's really a critical partnership we have with them. And this strength and conditioning emphasis will allow our students and particularly student athletes to be well prepared for competition. So I'm kind of excited about
Do you know, will the strength and conditioning will that be available to all students to sign up for?
it. They're working on adjusting the schedule now.
No. And athletes and not.
Yeah, so, yeah,
Through 12.
as part of the regular day, right? So I'm really excited about it. I think it takes our programs to the next level. I think it allows our physical education teachers to actually teach physical education as a legitimate course for which we have Iowa standards. And we just simply haven't been able to do it in the past. So we now have one business teacher, which makes us equivalent to our neighboring district of Mason City, which, as you know, is more than double our size. They also have one business teacher. So my question might have been, well, wait a minute, how are we going to be able to meet our business requirements? So we met several times and Dr. Schilling and I were convinced after we looked at the regulations and the career and technical education requirements from the State Department and the personal schedules of our staff that we think this is the wisest use of our resources to get us in compliance in all areas.
We have a motion to,
Approve that.
is there a second?
It's to approve Austin for strengthening conditioning physical education teacher for high school. Start 10 August 2023, step 1.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to appoint Austin Reckford as a strength and conditioning physical education teacher at the high school, starting on August 10th. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Passes 5-0. Financial reports. Evan, do you have anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, so this report is to the end of April. As you can see on the general fund expenditure side, we have spent 80% of our budget. And as of today, just a heads up, it looks like we're gonna be under our general fund expenditures for what's budgeted this year. And we are on track to receive 100% revenue. So that's not big. So unless something happens for a while, the next 4 days is to come in under budget this year.
Is there a motion to accept the April 2023 financial reports as presented?
Make a motion, accept the April 2023 financial report as presented.
Been moved and seconded to accept the April 2023 financial reports as presented. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Passes 5-0. Consideration of the amended consent agenda.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the amended consent agenda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion passes 5-0. Board members, do you have any comments this evening? Anything?
I really enjoyed this student speeches yesterday at graduation. Brings you back.
When's our next meeting?
June 12th.
Well, I will be important, so I'll need to Zoom.
We do have that informational session tomorrow night with epilepsy. Tomorrow, everything related.
Okay, yeah.
And please, everyone that would have any interest whatsoever with how we might move forward with this referendum financially, fiscally responsible manner, please have them come. As you recall, Matt explains things so well that it's one of those work sessions, I would say to the entire community, do not miss it. It's gonna be, we're actually going to have it recorded and we're gonna put it up on our website underneath our bond referendum section of our website, which has all current information as well. And before you leave tonight, I'll be passing out petitions in case any of you want to ask your family and friends to sign.
We'll be recording it, but it will not be live.
I was just gonna say that I've been able to, attend some of the, events that have happened, scholarship night, National Honor Society induction, things like that, and, I went to the CAPS thing also. Those girls did a very good job, I thought. Their CAPS presentation, and they, you could tell it was second semester of a new course, I guess, you know, because it was expanded, and, they did a really good job, so. You know,
We have more students graduating on
Saturday, yes, and everyone's invited to the Kerry Lane graduation. It's a new record. The old record was 21 students, and Josh reached 22, or that Kerry Lane reached 22 students today, so. And it might be 23, actually.
That's at the
So,
Congregational Church, right?
yes, at 1 o'clock. Okay.
Very good.
Okay, meeting adjourned at 6:56.
Saturday.
I have,
You have lots.
I have one.
I can make copies. We'll go right away for that.